So good morning again. This is the agenda for today. We're going to see the first part of Material Master Search Tool and Material Master Request. And before that, we're going to spend some time, let's say, reviewing the basic concepts that you need to understand. So as I said, the objective of this session, that will last altogether more than 1 hour, will be to explain to you how to complete properly and to fulfill properly the Material Master request. Okay, and for that you will need to understand basically what is the Material Master catalog and the master data in general. We will see how to search for materials in the Material Master tool. Some of you know very well the tool, and you may think that that part you already master it. But I have to say that nearly 80% of the time we are facing problems there. And then after doing that, we will go for the different forms to request new product IDs, and we will see the most important fields that need to be fulfilled there, that sometimes are not so obvious, and we will discuss. So first of all, about Material Master, right? Material Master Catalog is a central, let's say, repository or database that identifies all materials or products that you can add to a shopping cart, right? But and you as the requisitioners or people involved in the requisitioning and the source to acquire process, this is important, but it's not only important for you. This has plenty of implications downstream. So it will have an impact on the purchase, of course, but then at the storing level, at the inventory management level, and at warehouse management, it has implications. And also when we are issuing the items out, right? So let's say that the material item that is procured, stored, moved, or sold by UN is identified by a unique number. And this is very important, okay? This is something that most of you already know. So, and it defines the items that are used for planning, purchasing, and inventory, okay? Now, why is this critical and why we are doing this particular session for this? Because it's not only that if you choose the wrong Material Master or Material Master ID, or if you submit a request and then you are having problems finding the right product ID, will have an impact on not only on the procurement side but also in the equipment master. If what we are trying to acquire is an equipment, we will have problems in inventory and in equipment management. If what we are trying to acquire is also fixed assets, we will have problems again in the on the finance side and also on the management of the fixed assets. So please be aware and be very careful when you are trying to select a product ID, because even if you don't face a problem immediately because you may eventually receive the goods that you are trying to acquire, the problems down the road in the full end-to-end process are going to be massive. Okay, that was only an introduction now about the Material Master as a concept, and now we're going to discuss a bit more about the Material Master Search Tool. Now, before touching all these points, if I may, you have to understand. You have to see what is the Material Master Search Tool. When you normally have to submit or create a shopping cart, or when you need to find a product ID that you want to use, there is on ISIC. Let me just go jump for a second to share my. I want a spreadsheet. I don't know if you can see it. All right. So if you go to the ISIC, to a place that we are going to show to you later, you will get this Material Master Search Tool, which is basically a list of all the product IDs that they are available in the system. Okay. Now, these product IDs are basically defined by 2-3 things that are more important. One is the number that, of course, have to be identifying the material that you want to acquire. And another one is the noun, which is telling you basically what is the product, And the most important one is the description, because the description is basically identifying uniquely the item. So the whole idea of managing the material master search tool is about understanding this field, understanding the description, and then through the description getting the right product ID or material number, right? You'll find in Umoja sometimes refer as material ID and sometimes as a product ID. But this is absolutely critical. So if I may jump again to the presentation, if you don't mind, the material number is the unique identifier of the product. But the most important topic for you to understand and to be really familiar with is the material description. And this is what I'm going to be discussing with you later on. Okay. Now, may I ask you something, and you please reply with the participant panel that we said before. May I know how many of you use regularly or daily this material master search tool? If you use it, please click on the green check. If you don't use it, all right. Right, so I see that most of you are familiar. Some of you are not familiar with it, okay? So that's important for me to know, okay. All right, so most of you use it. Okay, now in this material master spreadsheet, you have also basic data that will have also unit of measure, material group, material type, which is basically more information related to your product, and some additional parameters that will be useful for logistics and warehouse later. But as I said, which is important and is the main goal of this session today, of this 1 hour session, is to understand material description, right? If you don't understand material description, you will not find the proper product ID. And if you don't understand material description, if the product is not there, you will not be able to request it properly. And this will generate delays on the creation of new products. And eventually this will create delays on the reception of products in the mission. So the material description is the key, okay? Is the key. So make sure that you understand this point, and then we'll have some exercises later. And it's is where you have to put all your attention. So what else about material description? Material description, right? We were saying material description has 40 characters, not necessarily there are 40 because this is the maximum, that identifies the item. So basically it identifies the form, the fit, the function. And people need to understand really this, because sometimes we think that if we specify an item with a description that we understand, it will be enough because we have the picture of this product on our head. But if someone is reading this description, may ask, is this a big thing? Is it a small thing? How many wheels does this vehicle has? These kind of things. And we need really to have a unique specification for every product. So, and this is a key point, or let's say this is the justification to have description very accurate, right? Because we need material descriptions to be unique and unambiguous. Let me give you an example. If we take these descriptions, the ones that you see on the screen, and you see this one, for instance, pen ballpoint. Okay, this is a good description of a pen, but it's not saying anything, for instance, about the color, right? It's not saying if it's blue or if it's black or if it's red. So this description will not be valid for the material master record. And you may think this is obvious, but sometimes when you are submitting requests for creations, you are not specifying this kind of things. Or if we take another one, pen blue, this one is fine. It will tell you the color, but it's not telling you if it's ballpoint or it's another type of example. So what are you supposed to find in the material master catalog? And for instance, you can have this type of description: pen, ballpoint, I guess this is black. Pen, ballpoint, this is blue. So you have first the noun of the item. You'll find always first the noun of the item, and then you will have characteristics one by one, separated by a comma. So in this way, depending on the product, you will have more characteristics or less. So if we can have also pen ballpoint red, a pen felt tip black, pen felt tip blue, pen rollerball black, etc. So there are plenty of combinations, but it doesn't mean that all combinations are already existing in the material master catalog. What I'm trying to say here is that the material the homogeneous material description will identify the item that you want to acquire or the item that you are trying to find. And if it's not there, you will have to request it in the same way. For example, what if we want to request a pen that is green, and we go here and we don't find it, right? Then when we will be submitting a request for a new material creation, we will take the existing description as a reference, and we will say we want a pen ballpoint green. Okay? So you need to understand the way this is structured, because this is exactly the description that MDM team is expecting in the forms. Okay? And not only that, you need to understand how this is described. So when you go to the search tool, you search basically in a similar way. And now we are going to go to the search tool. I'm going to give you some tips, and you will also do some exercises after the session. Now, if we take another example, just to continue with this logic, if we talk about trucks, you can have a truck dump. Sorry, you can have a truck dump that can be petrol or diesel, right? And you can have some other characteristics like, I guess this is the wheels, right? 4442, okay? Or the drive configuration, sorry, for the traction. So we will have, and we can have in the material master catalog one track description that will be truck dump, then petrol, RHT 44, okay? Or we can have another one, but you have always the same approach. You have first the noun, okay, and then you see 2 points because this is referring to a track. And then you have characteristic, okay. So what about spare parts? And this creates a lot of confusion. By the way, if you see this, let me just point something else out. Do you see here in these descriptions the brand or the provider? No. When we have to identify material, we identify it. If it's a regular material, we identify it with the noun and characteristics. Okay. So in general, we will not enter the provider or the vendor or manufacturer or anything here. Okay, because we want it generic. Because a pen is a pen, no matter who is providing it. Okay. When we talk about spare parts, it's a bit different. And now I know that for spare parts there are massive creation requests. So what is a spare part? Basically, a spare part is a piece of or an item that is used for maintenance, repairing, or expansion or an already owned equipment, right? And this is something very important because in the case of spare parts, and you have always to keep in mind if what you are trying to analyze is a regular product or it's a spare part. For spare parts, you need to specify the manufacturer of the equipment, right? And the manufacturer, or let's say the part number of the equipment. That's why, because if we think about the pen is fine, but if we want to replace a valve of a vehicle, every manufacturer of this vehicle or of this equipment will have a set of spare parts. So in the case of spare parts, yes, we need to specify the manufacturer. Okay. And you have two fields there that we will see later. One is the manufacturer, and another one is the part number. Let me just show one example. So if we are talking about spare parts, one for toner, right? You will have in the noun spare toner. And then in this case, because it's a spare part, you specify who is the manufacturer of the equipment. Because if you buy a toner for HP, it will be something, but if you buy it for Epson or Canon, it will be different. Okay. So in the spare part, you do enter the manufacturer name and the manufacturer part number, which is unique and identifies that part. Okay. So this is an important difference. So manufacturer name is the name of the manufacturer of the piece, and the manufacturer part number is equipment that is the equipment I mean the manufacturer uses this ID to identify their items. Okay. Now we'll see. You have an Excel template available in ISIC, on ISIC to upload this. So just to recap or to add another point, each new material description must be considered in the context of the whole catalog. What does it mean? Before requesting any material, you need to go and search in the tool, but not only to search if it exists or not exists. You need to find a material that is similar to this. So first, it speeds up the process because you say, okay, I've been looking for this, I've been looking for this blue, I've been looking for this green pen, ballpoint, and I don't find it. But I found one that is blue, which is very similar. You need to find a similar thing that in general is always there, so you justify why you need to request a new thing. So you cannot make sure if what you are requesting is existing or unambiguous if you don't see the whole material master. Okay, so prior to submitting any request, you need to search in the material master, which is fine. How to search in the material master? And now, in the exercises that you are going to do, let's say in the following days that I'm going to send to you, and I have all the participants list, so we will see in the report. No matter if you leave now or later, we'll see in the report who did the exercises or not. In this spreadsheet that I was showing to you before, you have all the materials. Okay. In this material master, in this search tool, you have some fields here that you will be able to use to filter. But it's not enough knowing that you filter there. We need to have certain best practices to find the things, right? So you will have the whole material master, and then we will discuss, I'm looking for, let's say, for a truck. So we will search by noun because we know it's a truck. We will put it here. And I need something that is related to fuel refilling of aircraft. So you can play around. You can enter filtering something by noun, and then you can filter by ammonia description. But you really need to spend a few minutes in the search tool, because if you don't do it properly, you may end up in a loop where you think it's not there, then you request it, then you get rejected, then you go there and you don't find the right thing, and this is a problem. So what are the searching tips that we are going to give to you? First of all, you have to search at high level using few keywords and wildcards. So let me just open the spreadsheet and I'll give you an example of how to do this. No, so let me just do a demo. Now I know that I'm going to buy a car. Sorry, I need to buy, let's say, a truck, right? So I will first search on the truck. Even though I get, let's say, a more or less long description, and I have details, you never search by the most specific thing. You first search by something generic or quite open, no? Like we start saying, this is a truck. Okay, I need to find a truck. So you enter here and you get the spreadsheet filter out by truck. Now you get a feeling, the feeling of how all the trucks are described, right? So you have truck firefight, you have truck recovery, truck dump, truck tractor. Now, if you look at your description of what the technical unit is telling you, you may see that they are telling that you need something that is related to aircraft fulfilling. Okay, so now out of the whole list, you have filtered already something, and this gives you the feeling of how you have to describe it. So if you now use, let's say, a wildcard to say truck, it's something truck, but it will also have something aircraft, maybe in the description, no? Maybe in the description. Give me just 1 second. So I hide the long description, so we focus on the Umoja description, which is important. Now, if you search by Umoja description here, you write aircraft, you see you get a subset of what you were seeing before. Now we are getting to a good point. Okay, and now we'll see, okay, what out of this is something that I need, and then you can continue discussing, but it's aircraft, it's something to refill. Okay, so we can put something else here. We can put start, and remember start is to use a wildcard, and we can put here refill. Okay, and now we have a smaller subset of things. But you see, now you're already getting the feeling of the description that you need to provide. Now, after the proper discussion, you see here, that is telling you it can be diesel or petrol. It can be 6, 6 or 6.4, right? 6 per 4. So it's important that you, when you go to the search tool, you try to filter first by the noun, for instance, something that is more open, and then you start providing the characteristics here using wildcards. Now, if you know that is diesel, you will write it here as well, and then you get the subset. So, okay, so in this way you will identify the point. I don't know if it's am I explaining myself? Are you following me? If you can, please click on the green check if it's fine, or in the red cross if you want me to repeat again these searching tips. Can you please let me know if you are following me or I need to go slower? All right. So I see that, okay, most of you are saying that it's fine. So let me just summarize 1 second. So as I said, when you go and you search, and this is, guys, this is absolutely critical. If you don't search properly, you don't know if what you need is there or not. And I know some people are doing tricks and you are selecting sometimes a product ID that you see that is similar, because then in the purchase order you can specify, and you as a requisitioner you think it's fine because you will get the product. But this will create great problems in finance, in inventory management, in warehouse management, in logistics, okay, in equipment, in property management. So you really need to make sure this selection is accurate, because you are starting an end-to-end process that will have a lot of problems. And then who is going to be blamed for this is the person that is not selecting the product ID correctly. And then we might need to undo a lot of steps and then selecting it properly. So I'm going to encourage you to do all the exercises regarding the search tool that we will receive after the workshop. Okay. Now let me please continue with the presentation. So searching tips first using wildcards and keywords. This is essential. Okay. I'm not going to explain to you how to use keywords because I'm sure everybody is using Google and all these internet search tools. But using wildcards is important because you can put characteristics one by one using wildcards, and then you will get specific. And always go first from the general concept to the more specific. Okay, if you don't want to miss anything, I always recommend this approach. You first put something general, then you look what you get, and then you specify little by little. Okay. Confirm product type. Yeah, that's another good topic. Confirming the product category, because sometimes you may have a similar description. Now, if I go again to the spreadsheet, And now let's say I'm going to look for telephone. So where do I look first? I go to telephone. Okay. I'll go to the noun and I enter telephone. And then I get a long list. Okay. Now, if you look at the subset of things that you find, you already see that here I'm getting even services. You see activity services. This is services that have the word telephone there, right? Now, if you what you want to acquire is a cell phone or something like that, but you don't know exactly if it's only this or we need to provide more specifications or something, you might look at the product category. You see in the product category, this is something that you can also use to filter. You can have what you're looking for is what? A personal communication device, okay? It's a measuring and testing instrument. It's telephony equipment, or it is a service, communication system support services, right? So if what you're looking for is a service, it's a device, once you are filtering, you will start getting here the right category, and then you can get more examples. For instance, if you want here to say it's a cellular, what I'm looking for, no, it's a cell phone. So I will put here cell, and I filter, and I get only one, which is great already because we don't have anything different. But if I see, for instance, something that may be, yeah, if we say no, what I want is a telephone, it's an IP telephone, right? It's this type of telephone that you have on your desktop or whatever. So if you search by description and you put IP, you see that you have telephone IP advanced, entry level, standard. So now you can even open the long description to see more details about it. Okay, so from here you can try to identify, but you see here you have personal communication devices. So it's telling you that what you're looking for is here. So if you eventually see here something that you don't have, no, which basically in our example will be this one, which is fine. You don't request it again. But imagine that you are looking for something very particular, it's a new product and it's not here. You know that you are already looking for all the personal devices that have the word IP. Okay, so this is another tip, that product category name will help you to understand if what you are searching for is correct or not. Again, confirm that existing materials are from a similar nature. This is very helpful because when you submit the request, you can specify a similar product, and then the team, the material master team, will do it easily. So what if you don't find what you're looking for? So you have to ask yourself, did you find something similar? Did you search enough? Did you search first by category, by general thing or concept or noun, and then you started entering characteristics? Okay. But if after searching extensively, if you spend some time and then it's really that you don't find it, then you might need to submit a material master request. Now, this is, you will get an exercise later regarding the searching of the material master catalog. But let me just ask you something, okay? Let me just ask you something, and I will ask you again to use the functionality to reply. So now, let's say that someone came to me and told me that we need to request something, and this is the product type. We need to find a track, and this is the product. This is the product ID. So we got the product ID that someone told us is the track that we need for fulfilling aircrafts, and we get this product. Sorry, I'm entering it in the wrong place. 1 second. Sorry. So, okay. So I entered the product ID here, and can you see my screen? So I get this equipment. Let me just zoom in a bit. So it's air transportation support system, some equipment. This is the product ID, right? And they told me that we need a track that is used to refuel aircraft because the last one was broken and we need to acquire a new one. Okay, so let me show again the description so you see it well. We need to buy a truck that is used to refuel aircraft. Okay, a truck used to refuel aircraft, and then we have been told that this is the right one. Okay, now do you think this is the right one? Can you please click on the green check if you think this is the right one, or on the red cross if it's not the right one, or if you don't know it yet. So I'm asking for a truck to refuel aircraft, and I've been told this is the right product ID. Okay, so is this the right product ID? Can you please reply using the functionality that I told you this morning, earlier this morning? Green is check is yes, no is the red cross. Now, I'm getting like 25, all right, so 60% of you think it's the right product ID because I'm saying truck that is used to refuel aircraft. Okay, some of you are saying it's not. Now, the answer is you don't know if it's the right one or not. Here, you see the noun, and the noun makes sense, right? Because you want a truck that is used to refuel aircraft. But if you go to the module description, which is the thing that you have to use to uniquely identify this, see what is written here. Do we need it to refuel petrol, or is for diesel? Is it 6.4 what you want? Is it LHD? So there are a lot of characteristics. So you cannot assume based on the noun that what you are requesting is fine. You need to make sure that the description is accurate. In other words, it may happen that they tell you, no, there is nothing in the system to identify the truck that we want to find, and then you submit a request to through the material master request form, and you say, I want a truck to refuel aircraft. And they are going to reject it because they need to know if the product ID is there or not. And you don't know if the product ID is there or not if you don't provide the proper description. So if you don't specify, if you don't ask to the technical unit, or if you don't, let's say, clarify. Sorry, I want to show you the whole description. If you don't clarify if it's for petrol or diesel, and even this 6 per 4 or 4 per 4, you don't know, because you know what? If now I take this noun here, I filter by noun, and I remove the product ID, you will see that we have a long list of product IDs that are trucks to refuel aircraft. Okay, as I said before. So be very careful. Do not assume. Go to the search tool, search by what you think makes sense. No, we would do it normally. Put in truck, wildcard, aircraft fuel, and we'll get the same result. And then look at the description. Try to get this technical information and get the detail, not all details, because what happens, people receive the request. All right, I needed a truck to refuel aircraft. All right, and then requisitioner will tell the technical expert, give me more details. And the technical expert will tell you what details you want to know. So you have to be more accurate. You go to the search tool, you search by truck, aircraft fuel, or by something that is generic as much as possible, And then when you get descriptions, you take it in this format and you tell me, okay, I don't even know what is this HD. Okay, maybe it's the size, I don't know. So maybe it's, you can have to specify if this is petrol, if it's not petrol. And then you may think, oh, but I don't know. Then I can take this one, because it's track aircraft fuel. You cannot use it because this is too generic, right? This is too generic. You have to get the one that is detailed and then providing this level of details. So now imagine that you are requesting you need to buy a truck aircraft that is refuel HD, petrol, RHD, and then it's 10 per 10, and you don't find it because you come here and you don't find it, right? I don't know if I'm saying a stupid example, but if you come here and you don't find it, then you take this same description and you submit your request with this description, but instead of 6.6, you put 10.10, right? And then they know perfectly what is the thing that you are requesting. Okay. So let me just swap it again to the presentation. So you will receive some exercises about it. Okay. And you will have to perform some search in the tool. Okay, so I'll send you an email with a link that you have an exercise, and you will be asked to find some products for dogs, some generators that are big, and some other materials. Okay, and I will ask you to do it individually because otherwise we are not checking if we know how to do it. Now this was the first part of the presentation of this WebEx session, and the following part is about requesting new creation. So once we know that the product is there or not, we may need to submit a request. Before jumping into this part of the session, I think I'm going to give you a break because I've been talking for a while and I gave you a lot of details. So let's have a break of 10 minutes. Now it's 10:50. So let's please be back at 11 o'clock. Be back sharp on time, please, and just take some fresh air so we can continue the session after the break, and we discuss about how to request creation of new material IDs. All right? Okay. So if you are still hearing me, can you please click on the green check so I know I'm not alone on this WebEx room? All right. Okay. Thank you so much. So please be back in 10 minutes. Okay. We will continue the session at 11. Thank you. You don't need to leave the room. You don't need to disconnect from the WebEx. Just a step away of the computer is enough. Okay. Thank you. All right. So as I was saying, this second part of the training session is about how to fulfill the material master request for the creation of new materials IDs. So the assumption now is that you went to the material master search tool. You spend some time there looking and using wildcards and trying to understand. And even though you found something similar, but you didn't manage to find what you were looking for. Okay. So how to request a new material? I will send you this presentation as well, and I will send you also some exercises. But as you know, you have to go to ISIC, then go to Umoja on ISIC, then master data maintenance, and then material master. If you already downloaded this form once and it's on your desktop, you may just open the template that you have on your desktop because it gets updated automatically. So you can also use a local file if you have it, but it's also recommended to download it from ISIC. Okay. Apart from from the place where you download the form, okay. So one second, because I think there is someone that is asking a question. One second. Okay. So the question that you are asking me is, what do you do when you do not find a similar PID in the catalog? So now we'll get to that point. If you don't find a similar one, then you specify, you describe, and you say that you didn't find anything similar. But now we are going to get there, right? Thank you for the question. So what I was saying is that apart from the place where you get the form, there is another site in IC that is called Material Master Reference. And then you have some some extra additional documentation. All right. So how does the process work? You have the form that you need to fulfill. It may be a form, or it might be a spreadsheet if you are requesting for multiple items, or you are requesting for spare parts. We'll see each of the cases there. Okay. And so this form, it's an InfoPath form, which is a technology of Microsoft. And as I think most of you know, you need to just send an email to a particular address that is specified on ISIC and in the form as well, and you submit it. Okay. If you are if you want to request creation of spare parts, then you have a template as well for that. Okay. So you have a template for spare parts, and you also have a template for must request creation. So creation of multiple, let's say, materials, IDs that when they are not non-spare parts. So it's important, first of all, that before you try to fulfill the form, you think if it's a spare part or if it's not a spare part. Okay. Now, you have in the form some fields that are very, very important. And I'm going to ask you at this point to take note, even though you will also have the presentation later, because this is very important that you really put it into your heads. Okay, now we are going to discuss different fields that we need to provide. Okay. So when we are talking about the spare parts, you have to specify the noun, the manufacturer, and the part number, and reference notes. We will discuss later what is reference note. Okay. Okay, actually it's here on this slide. So if you see the form, okay, for the reference note, it's something that people are not using regularly, but it's very important that if the material that you are requesting is part of a local contract or a global contract, okay, you need to specify the contract number in the reference notes. Okay. So spare parts are submitted using the template. This is something we already said. Okay. And yeah, you just need to send the form and attach the template. When it's a non-spare part and you are requesting only the creation of one, you can just fulfill the form. Okay. But for non-spare parts, it's very important that you specify in the field that is called reference material. You have to specify there another product ID that is similar somehow. And really, it's difficult that you don't find something similar, no? Because most of the things are already invented, no? Unless you really are requesting something brand new. If you find something similar, just put it, even though if it's not so close. But if it shares at least the noun, you put it, and then you get a feeling of the type of description that you have to provide. So for non-spare parts, reference material is, I would say, is the most important field. And let me just justify this. Before you submit the form, you are searching. You are using the search tool. When you are searching and you are using the search tool, before you know it's not there, you find something that is closed, right? You say, oh, I want this, but I don't find it, but I only find this, but this is not what I need. So let me search in this way, let me search in that way. And then after 5 minutes, you say, okay, listen, in the form, there is only this thing, but this is not what I need. But this thing that you found is a good example to be included in the reference material, because it is the closest thing, that is the closest material that you found in the searching tool. And this will give the MDM team some information, some background as well. So the properly formatted description needs to be provided. And again, how to fulfill properly the description? No, it's very easy. If you went to the search tool and you got a material that is similar, closed, but it's not that one, still you just take the description of the material that is not what you want and you paste it here. And then in the description you just modify. You say, okay, it's not a truck to refuel aircraft, it's a truck to refuel this other thing. Okay? So it's very important that you first search properly, even if you don't find, but the searching process will give you inputs that you can use to fulfill the form. So am I explaining myself? Do you follow what I'm saying? Can you please click on the green check or on the red cross if you want me to repeat? Okay. All right. So let me just repeat once more, even though most of you are saying, but still 5 people are asking me to repeat. So what I'm saying, when you fulfill the form, you need to provide description, and sometimes it's not easy to find it. But you are coming from searching in the spreadsheet, right? You're coming from here. Let me do an example. You're coming from here. You are looking for a truck that is to refuel aircraft, but is 10 per 10. So you say, the closest thing that I found is this, but this is not what I need. So I need to request one more. So you just take the product ID of this item, you go to the form, and you put it here as a reference material. You enter it here. Let me even open a form because I have one form here. Let me just drag it to the right. So this is the form that you need to fulfill. Okay? Reference material. What do I enter here? So didn't you search before? How do you know that you need to request a new one? Because you didn't find it. Why you didn't find it? Because you found something that is not what you need. So if you say, okay, this is similar, but this is not what I need, you just take the product ID from here and you say in the form, this is a similar thing, and you copy and you paste it here. It's a similar thing. It's not what I need, but it's a similar thing. And then what do I enter in the description? Do I enter, I need a truck that is to refuel aircraft, but is a big one? Do I enter this description? No, you don't do that. If you found something that is not so far from what you request, you just take the description of that reference material, you copy it, you go to the form, and you paste, right? And this is a very good description. And then here you say, okay, what I'm looking for is truck, yes, aircraft, yeah, refuel, okay, aircraft refuel, it's fine, HD is fine, petrol is fine, RHD is fine, but it's not 6. I need a very big one for this new aircraft, and this one I want 10, whatever. Okay. All right. So this is basically the idea. Thank you for the feedback. So reference material, very important. I will be repeating for the next 15 minutes a lot of things about reference material. So at least I want to make sure that you get the importance of this. Reference price, it's also necessary. I mean, it's not the most critical field, but we have a problem if you don't specify. Let me give you an example. Some people are requesting creation of a router as a material ID. But you know, you may have a router that is for one room. It's a small thing. Its price is about I don't know, $100, and it's a piece of equipment, and that's it. But you may need to buy a router that is a big thing, like IT equipment that you put in a server room, and its cost is like $6,000. You as a requisitioner, maybe you don't care, but if it's more than $5,000, it might be a fixed asset. Now, material master data team that is managing the catalog needs to understand to get an idea of the price, because also the price will tell them if this is going to be above the capitalization threshold or below the capitalization threshold. So there are implications. So if you send a request but you don't enter any reference price, they don't know if what you are requesting is going to be eventually a fixed asset. And then they cannot create the material ID, because in the end-to-end process, this is going to have an impact. All right? So reference price is also important. Okay? In the case of spare parts, it's not so important because it's already, you identify immediately the item with the part number. But if you are requesting non-spare parts, please, reference material. Descriptions taken from the reference material and a reference price. Okay? Someone is asking, yeah, the cost is an estimate. Absolutely, it's an estimate. It's a reference price. You don't need to provide this particular price. I mean, the final price. You don't even know, right? It would depend on the contract and on the vendor, etc. But you get an idea. If you are buying a router that is $100, we know it's not going to be. I mean, it's above. I mean, about $100. Maybe it's not 100. Maybe eventually you pay 200. But it will never be 6,000, right? Because if you are buying a router that is 6,000, you are not buying a small device for a room. You're buying a full router to give network services to the whole mission, networking services, okay? So this is to get an idea, even if it's a rough idea, of the price, okay? And among other things, it will serve for material master to decide if they create a new material as a fixed asset thing or a new material that will not be for fixed assets. Okay, and people that have been involved in troubleshooting of fixed assets is important. Now, if the description is exceeding 40 characters, you can always add some notes, or also in the reason. I will go later because there are some fields in the form that you can use. Okay. Now, do not write the notes in the body of the email because this is automated system. Okay, we have to find some fields in the form. So let me please continue. Now we're talking about the form. Reference note is also very important if what you are acquiring, if there is a contract in place. Okay, or there needs to be a contract in place, because then the contract it's also source of information, and maybe the contract needs to be updated. So if you what you are trying to request is part of a global or a contract number, enter here. Sorry, it's part of a contract. Enter here the contract number in the reference note. Is it clear? May I go to the next slide? Can you please reply on your green check or your red cross? All right, good. Nobody said no, so this is good news. Let's continue. Okay, so what else? Now, an explanation of the different fields. Reference material, I already said that. This is just to give it written on the slide and also to reinforce the concept. Reference material identifies the closest existing material that can be found. Now, if you don't find a similar thing, you may have something that is close, right? If you are buying some kind of medicine, but you don't find a similar medicine, just put a medicine that, I don't know, that at least we see, you get an idea of the type of description. Why is this important? Because it will also give you an idea of the characteristics. So if you are searching for a medicine, and we always start from the search tool, right? So I don't know, I didn't test this thing myself. Okay, maybe, I don't know, maybe we have to specify something similar, something different. So if we are trying to find a drug, then if you don't get what you are looking for, but you have something similar, right, you can just specify, okay? It's more to give you an idea of the characteristics that you need to include in the description, okay? Always, you will always have something that is, if it's not similar, it's closed, right? Otherwise, it's an exception, no? But we are talking about thousands of forms being received daily by the team, and in general, there is always something that is not so different. Reference note, okay? You can also add in the reference note, apart from the contract number, why the new item is not met by existing material master record, right? So what you're saying, I think Soren was asking something about it. If the characteristics that you have do not fit in the material description here, you just add additional information in the reference note. And then the team will find out the way to put all the description. They will use abbreviations or something like that. So you can use reference note not only to specify the contract number, but also to add additional information. So material description, as I already mentioned, I think 4 or 5 times, is the proposal for the new material description. Okay. Then, as I said, you are coming from the search tool. If you use properly the search tool, you found something that it's not what you need. Because if it's what you need, you are already processing with the shopping cart. But you found something that it is not what you need. Do not use it in the shopping cart. Take that number, enter it as reference material, copy its description, and put the material description of the item that you do not need because it's not exactly what you need, but it's close, and put it here. And modify it. So you specify what you need in the proper way. Okay? Example make an example model. Also, this helps the MDM team to understand. So if you are asking for something new, but you found, how do you know that this item exists, right? How do you know that this item that is not present in the material master catalog exists? Because you probably have already an idea of a model of a company that is producing this product. So if you give an example of make and model, MDM team can understand through this commercial reference, and they can describe it properly. Now, this does not mean that you have to enter the model or the make in the material description. You just put it here in make and model, so you help the person that is managing the catalog to understand what do you need. So if you put the make and model, you put a similar product and material description, that's it. And now I think this is also related to a question from someone. I don't know exactly who was asking this. So what if I really if I don't find anything similar? Then in that case, these two fields are pretty important, are very important. Because if what you put in the reference material is not very close to what you need, you just use this as a reference. So you say, okay, I don't find anything similar in our material catalog, but you know, I found this in this website, and this is what I really need. Okay, so you only give this as an idea of what you are requesting, and then the MDN team, together with the information that you provide, they will populate the proper material description. There is a question. Yeah, the form is a bit. It needs to be improved, and I already reported this, and the form will provide you more instructions. In principle, when the form was designed, only the yellow fields were mandatory, right? Now they are improving the process, okay? And in order to improve the process, we are using some extra, or they are using some extra fields. Okay, so I also submitted a request to UNSCHUF so they can update the form to make it more aligned with the process. But yeah, you have to pay attention to this presentation, and you have to also fulfill these fields, even though they are not yellow. Okay. All right, so let me continue. So from here, from this slide, remember material description. That is coming from the reference material that you were looking for in the tool. And then if you need, or if you don't find anything similar, just use make and model, right? But again, if you already found something that is very similar, like you found the blue pen, and it's just that you need the green pen with the same characteristics, you don't need to find something new, right? You just have the description. It says it's a blue pen, ballpoint, whatever, but it's green. So it's basically the same description, but with a different color. Okay? Why do we have different colors even in the description? You may think, myself as a requisitioner, I do not care because I specified. Why do I have a different product ID for blue pen and another product ID for green pen, another for red pen? Because you have to consider that this material will go into stock, will go to warehouse, and they need to be managed. So when we have to issue out things, we need to know how many blue pens we have, how many green pens we have, and where are they located. Okay. So even though from your perspective, you may not need to be so specific on the description. Still, for the whole process, it's needed. Okay. The same thing for service IDs. I think there is a similar form. Okay. There is a similar form on ISIG where you have the material form and the service form. Okay. Now reference price. This I mentioned already, is used to help defining finance and property management setting of the material. Okay. So please do not forget to enter reference price, because sometimes the products might be big or small. You may buy a vehicle that is very small and may not be even considered as a fixed asset, or it might be a big one, right? Or you may buy maybe you buy a machine and the machine is below the capitalization threshold and then it's considered equipment, but if it's above, then it's an asset. So please remember to enter a reference price. Okay. What else? You have to provide it in dollars, of course. Now there is another area that is also relevant. Is requester information. Normally people fulfill this one more or less fine, but there are some fields here that are important. Now you have to specify your business area. Okay. So, and referencing supporting information issues. Okay. Now this one is fine. Now this is the point. You can use the reason field to provide any other information. So this field reason, together with the reference notes, will help you to add additional information, meaning that why are you requesting this, why you didn't find any reference material, why all the description didn't fit, and you have to explain here as well what the new material will be used for, volumes and frequency of the orders, and any other information. Okay. In this additional information, or let's say in this one requester information, there are also two fields that are used to specify if you are attaching another document. Okay. So if you are sending a template, you send the form and you say, okay, this is attached, and then you specify in the located in, you specify the name of the file that you are attaching. So you can attach a mass request template if you are requesting for more than one item. You may attach a spare part template or any other picture or any other or a picture or another example that you want to provide as an additional information. Right? If you attach something, you need to mark. You need to check this field because you let the system know if it's, let's say, if there is something attached or not. Okay. Otherwise, the system may not forward this information. And then you specify the name of the fields. Okay. Sorry, I'm drawing this with this yellow thing. It's okay. Any question or any comment about this part? Is it okay? May I move forward? Okay. All right. So let's go and see something more practical. Maybe I'm talking a lot about the form, but I'm not opening the form, so maybe you are not getting the whole feeling. So this is the form, okay, Material Master. I just downloaded it from the site, and this is what the field that we were saying. Material number you don't specify; it will be populated by the Indian team. Description we already said. Reference material is that item that you found that is closed, but it is not what you need. From it, you take description and then you play around with it. You modify it. You include as a reference material, as a reference price, a certain amount. Okay. For instance, this I know it's a very cheap car truck, no? So let's put 50,000. Okay. Whatever. $50,000. Okay, so they know it's going to be a fixed asset, and also the numbering will change. And then if it's something brand new that is not really close to it, and we want to provide more details, we specify make and model. Reference note, we enter the contract number and any other information to complete the information about the reference, about the material description or anything. Okay, or material type. You can also you select it because it's there, so we'll give you an idea. And we were saying something about requester information, so you specify business area, okay, and then here you say if there is something attached or not, and the name of the field. Of course, you specify who is requesting it. So if Material Master team needs to get some clarifications, they will contact you. All right, so let's continue. Okay, thank you for the feedback. Spare parts. Okay, because what we saw so far, all these fields, this is the form when it is not a spare part. Okay, this is not a spare part. So what if it's a spare part? If it's an spare part, we have a different type of form. It's not an offline form. It will be a spreadsheet. Okay, a spreadsheet. In this spreadsheet, you have columns of different colors. You only need to fulfill the green ones. Okay, but again, it is very useful if you search before, and it's important if you search before you fulfill the spreadsheet, because you get the idea also on the type of right? Maybe if you come here and you put spare, okay, All these ones are from TPT. Okay. So you see you have spares for different types, right? Lift, test equipment, whatever. So before going to the template, I mean, before understanding if you need to request creation of new spare parts, you have come here and you understood that what you're looking for is not there. Again, it's the same story. So you were looking for a spare and you said, okay, this one is TPT. So you just put TPT, right? Because it's, I guess, yeah, I don't even understand all these spare part descriptions. Yeah, because it's transport, right? So you understood that what you're looking for is this. I mean, it's similar to this, but it's not this. It's another part number because Renault, they just changed the model or something. But you already got the idea. So when you go to the template, and I'm changing now to the presentation, when you go to the template, you put here as a known spare TPT. Okay, if what you're looking for is a Renault one, you specify manufacturer, right? Renault. And then what you're looking for is a spare part number that you probably got from the Renault catalog or something. So you specify manufacturer and part number, and then the known that you can get it also from the search tool. Okay. Again, as I said before, if what you are requesting is part of a contract number, sorry, then you enter the contract number in the reference note. Now this form is easier. Why? Because when you are requesting spare parts, the spare part number identifies uniquely the piece of equipment or the spare part that you are requesting. But still make sure that you specify this correctly. Okay? Is it clear? Do I need to repeat again the part, this slide? Is it clear? Okay, please click on the green check or the red check if it's fine, or the red cross if it's not fine. Okay, so you only need to fulfill the green columns. Okay, now name of the spare, so it's a spare TPT, manufacturer, and part number. That's it. It's very easy, very straightforward. Okay, now we're going to have some exercises for you. Okay, and we are going to test another functionality. I'm going to activate for you, and you're gonna get a pop-up with one question. All right, and you have to reply to the question on your computer. So now just give me 1 second. I'm going to activate the question. So this is the one example of form. Okay. So you see there is one material description, one reference material, and some information there. Now what you have to explain is what fields do you think are wrongly populated or are missing. Okay. So now I think you got a pop-up question on your screen. So please check the answers that you think are wrong fields or need to be populated and are not populated. And after you complete, click on submit. You can mark several of them. So please, I give you like 1 minute or 2 minutes so you check the form that you have in front of you, and please reply to the question. Okay? So I get an idea if I'm explaining well or I need to repeat this session tomorrow. Yes, I give you 1 minute. All right, check. Is the material description correct? If it's not correct, click on check the first answer. Is the reference material correct? If it's not, check the second answer as well. It is the reference price mandatory? If it's not there but it should be there, check the third one. So check all the fields that you see in the question. So please, okay, I see that already 68 people completed, 40 are waiting. So please reply to the question. I'm giving you 2 more minutes. Right? Plus people replying. You still have 2 minutes. So please, okay, finished. Only 24 people waiting. Okay. All right. So please submit the form. It's already there. I'm going to close the questionnaire in 1 minute. Okay. Last 8 people, and we continue with the presentation. Okay. So if you didn't submit the form, I'm going to close it anyway. So please click on submit. All right. Okay, I got at least 120 answers. Okay, so I give you 20 more seconds. It's about to expire. So, okay, let's analyze this form. So if we understand what is wrong in this form, you will understand what is wrong when you submit. And again, there is no workaround here. If you don't, let me just make clear something. When you try to submit a shopping cart, if you don't find the right product ID in the search tool, selecting the wrong one is not a workaround because it will mess up everything down the road. In the same way, if you have the form and you don't have the details that you need to provide, submitting the form incomplete is not speeding up the process. It's even worse because then you have back and forwards and it's going to be a problem, right? So if I can see from here that you understand, I think, okay, first point, not everybody said the material description was wrong. So please pay attention to this point. I said, if you see material description wrongly generated, wrongly fulfilled, you have to mark the answer. Now, a lot of people thought the material description is fine. And then I have to explain again myself. What is a proper material description? Let me go to the search tool. We had an example with a truck, right? This is a proper material description. This is the proper material description. What you see in the form is not the proper material description. It's vague, right? It's not accurate. It's too generic. We need to specify characteristics. How would you fulfill this correctly? You go to the search tool, you find a product that is close to it, and you define you put the description in this way. Okay? So option A should have been checked. And if you didn't, it's because you understood the material description was fine. It is not fine. You have to be more accurate. Okay? Reference material. Everybody understood, most of you understood that this is wrong. Exactly, this is wrong. What do we expect to put here? We expect to have a product ID from a similar thing, right? So we should be entering there a material number, okay? From something that is not so far from what you are requesting. In other words, I will always put the material numbers of the item that I found, of the product ID that I found, that is not good for me, but I found it searching in the same way. So put something similar. If we put reference material valve, it doesn't mean anything, right? Reference price, you understood immediately that needs to be populated and it's not there. So that's fine. Example make, this one is fine, right? Because we are saying the make, and model was missing, right? So if what we are, in this case, in this example, this is very important because it looks to me like the person is requesting this doesn't really found anything in the search tool. So if you didn't find anything in the search tool, make sure you specify and make a model so you help the team that is creating material IDs to understand. And reference note, what do we expect to have in the reference note? Do you think this has value to anything? No. If you in the reference note, you have to specify either if it's in a contract, the contract number, and then provide additional information, right, related to the material. If you found it or you didn't find it in the material master catalog, it's not relevant for the process. Okay. It may be relevant if you say, because on top of that, you say I don't find it in the material, but you are not even giving me something that is similar, right? So thank you so much for replying to this poll and to this question, and we'll continue. We are going to give you another example. You will receive, as I said at the beginning of the session, you will receive also an exercise by email that I'm expecting you to complete in the following days. So this was the solution. So no reference. I mean, description is not formatted correctly. There is no reference price. There is no reference material. I mean, in a different form. No manufacturer or manufacturer product ID and reference note are empty. That is another, let's say, another example. Just putting more information. Another exercise. Okay, in this you will not have now a questionnaire, but I hope you can see my screen. Okay. Do you think this form is correctly generated, populated, this template? Can you please see the screenshot that is on the slide, and then click on your green check or click on your red cross if you think it's wrong. So if you think it's fine, just click on the green check. Okay. I'm expecting more people to reply to this question. Okay, so please pay attention what I'm saying. All right. I see some people that are not even looking at my WebEx session, so I don't know why you are connected. Okay. Okay, now I get you. Thank you. So what I'm asking, please look at this slide and say if it's fine or if it's not. And you use the green check to say if it's fine or not. Okay. All right. So this one is correct. Okay, this one is correct, and I see that some people say no. So I wonder what did you find that is not correct. Let's see if it's fine or not. Okay. So what do we have there? Do we have a noun for the spare part? Yes, the noun is there. Okay. Do we have the noun also for the other one? Yes, and this is coming from the search tool. Manufacturer, equipment manufacturer. Do we have the manufacturer? Toyota, right? For the TPT, for the transport. And we have a spare part. So we have, we have the part number. So we have the manufacturer and we have the part number. All right. Then then we have some information from the database, and then we have some reference notes. Why we are putting the reference note this? So we are assuming that in this case there is no contract in place. So we are adding additional information that will help the team to understand. Okay, so some particularities of the thing. So from my perspective, in my opinion, this form is populated correctly. Okay. Okay, okay. Some of you are even telling me that you cannot click on the green check, but it's also fine from as you think, as you understood it. So this is fine, okay? The spare part form, remember, is a bit easier because you have the part number. But in order for the MDM team to understand or to get the right information, if you put the part number but you don't put the manufacturer, then we have the same problem. Okay, so please populate this. I know it's obvious, but you don't imagine the amount of forms that they are receiving without the proper information. Or some people that aren't requesting spare parts using the other form, so they don't specify the part number and these kind of things. Let's take another example, and we are approaching already the end of the session. So, is this form fine or not? Again, I let you reply using the green check or the red cross. Is this form fine or not? Well, actually, this one, yeah. Yeah, there is a part that you will identify that is maybe is not fine, and another one that you will receive by email. So maybe this is going to be the last exercise. So please click on the green check or on the red cross. All right, what we can see is that, okay, does material description look fine? Yes, right. This material description looks fine, right? Does the reference material look fine? Yeah, it looks fine. There is something similar. Okay. The reference price, well, it looks okay. Okay. We have the make and the model, it's fine. And then, again, reference note. I don't find it in the MDN catalog. So this reference note is too generic. You don't provide the contract number and you don't add any other thing. And then on top of that, you know what happened to this form? If I go now to what they are requesting is, yeah, the material description can have more additional information, but not really, no? It all depends on this, what you are requesting. So let's go to the search tool, no? They are requesting an adapter, HDMI, VGA, to VGA. So let me just, for the sake of this exercise. So this person that submitted this form came here and said, I want an adapter, right? So they wrote here adapter, and you get a filter by adapter. And then they got the specification. They say, okay, I need an adapter to convert from HDMI to VGA. No, this is a typical thing that you put in you're putting in the laptop for the laptop or to do presentations or for the screen. And then we say, okay, what are the keywords here? Adapter, HDMI, and VGA. So what do I enter here? Let me put HDMI, and I filter. Okay, I have 5 of them. But what is this? Adapter HDMI to VGA. Is not this what they are requesting? So is this form properly populated? Actually, they have the number there 650993, which is not even here. So I guess when they were searching, they were searching in a different way without using the keywords, and then they didn't find it. Okay, so maybe if you put here HDMI without putting the wildcard, no, and then they put another space. Okay, so I don't know how they did it. So if they look for it without using wildcards, they didn't get it. So, but it's there. So, as I said before, one of the key tasks is to search properly. You come here, you put the name of the thing, then you put keywords HDMI, and if you want to put also VGA, you put star VGA. So you put keyword by keyword, separated by asterisk or star. All right, I think that was the last example because I think it's better if you perform by yourself the exercises. So you will receive in the maybe later today or tomorrow a link to a website where I'm expecting you to reply to some questions. So you will take your time to use the searching tool and to analyze some of these examples. Okay. I think as a demo was fine. Maybe we have another final example if it's okay with you, and then we close the session. So we have a last form. Can you please look at the form? And you tell me if you think it's correct or not. Okay. So, okay, some people are saying it's not correct. But in this case, okay, so I will need to when you will receive the exercise. Someone is saying price is too high, but all right, this is another discussion. So, okay, let me just review the fields one by one. In this case, okay, and this is the last exercise we are going to do today. Reference material, okay, is correctly populated, right? We want to acquire a hammer, so this is the number is 15000. Even if we go to the search tool, we will find it. So let me go to the search tool, and then we enter the product ID, right? What is the product ID here? 15000 66773. 66773. This is the reference material. So they want something similar. This material is a hammer, Mason hammer, okay, and it's a forming tool, and it's a hammer, right? So they take from here, they do from here the description, and they populated the description. You see this reference item. This reference item is a hammer, Mason hammer, 5 kilograms. So in the form, they specify hammer, Mason, 10 kilograms. Okay, Mason or Mason, not sure how it's the right pronunciation. So, but we want something that is 10 kilograms, and it's not in the catalog. So the description, I would say, is very well detailed. Reference price. We cannot say if the price is right or wrong. Maybe it's too high, no? But we need to understand what type of material they are acquiring. If this is a reference price, it's fine because it's far below the threshold, so we understand that what they are acquiring. So the reference price, as long as it's populated, it's fine. Manufacturer and manufacturer product ID, in this case, is not required. Why it is not required? Because this is not a spare part, right? So, and also we may not need to, let's say, specify in this case the model because we already have the proper description here, right? So the MDM team just knows that it's the same thing, but it's for a different way. And as reference note, it's saying a clarification, right? So it's explaining why a new product ID is requested. New hammer with different size to existing. So it's fine as well. What is not detailed there and may be needed if it's in the contract, okay? If it's in the contract, we'll have to specify here the contract number. Now, for this example, as some of you are saying, for the request of the creation of the product ID, this form, it's fine because we just want another product ID that is similar to this, but with a different weight. Then, when you are submitting the shopping cart, of course, you need to know what model or make, you need to know who is the vendor and everything. But at this stage, we just need to have the right product ID, okay? All right, so that was okay. And thank you so much for joining. You will receive some exercises by email, but I just want to thank you because I've seen that you have been following most of the session and has been a long one. So thank you so much for attending the session. And let me just stop sharing the presentation because it's over. Thank you so much. We will be in contact. We will be sending you some exercises, and we will set up a support room for 1 day or two whenever you need to do the exercises. So if you have questions, you can just uh, connect to this support room, and we can have a chat and a discussion, right? So we can have one-to-one. If you want to have one-to-one discussion when you have to submit a form, or if you have a real case when you have to sorry, let me just stop sharing. If you have a real case when you have to submit a form during these days and you don't know how to do it, please let us know, write to our email address, it's Sumoya Training, and you will receive a set of exercises very soon. Thank you so much for joining. It's been nice talking to you, and I see some familiar names, even though I don't see your faces. Remember that my name is David Redondo, so if you want anything else, just you can draw me.